Look at it this way.
Uh-huh.
The most beautiful angel in all of heaven, the most beautiful angel in all of heaven, what was his job in heaven? What was he in heaven?
I don't know.
He was a musician.
A musician.
He was over the heavenly choir. He was the musical director of heaven. He was the minister of music. That's what Lucifer did before he went wrong. Why did he go wrong? Because he didn't just want to be the musician. He noticed the joy that the angels had serving under him as the musical director, and he just wanted more. He wanted more. He wanted to be God.
Mm-hmm.
What is my point? My point is that he had a very important job that he did well. He did it so well that it just wasn't for him. He just didn't want it anymore. He felt he was greater than what his assignment was.
Right.
And he got kicked out. And ever since then, he's been trying to destroy other people for believing what he know to be the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I say that to say this. If the musician is not okay with their assignment, then they can do wrong. But if they're okay with their assignment, their purpose, their assignment, they can do just as much right as any other individual in the whole scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's designed.
Yeah.
That is the way it's designed. That's why you and I and others like us have to learn to get along. We have to learn to love one another. I want to say this before I lose my thought on it. We were talking about this society and the racism. We was touching on that. This is what I believe. I believe Black America is the key to racism. Not white America. Black America. Because if Black America don't learn to love each other and love who they are, racism will never stop. Now here's what white America has to do. Black America got to learn to love each other and to love themselves. White America has to make sure that they give up their privilege. And what I mean by that is basically share it, because it wasn't meant just for them. Those two things happen, racism will leave as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
It will leave as we know it. And that is what is going on right now, today. That's what it's showing us, the lack of love within a group of people that were made to believe that they are not love one another, that they weren't worth anything, that they weren't even human. And then you have a group of people that oppresses all other groups of people because they feel that they are superior. And they're the only ones that deserve a right to privilege. Both ends of the spectrum. Everything and everybody else is caught in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Growing up, when we were kids, I got it from both ends. My dad, full-blooded Italian. His parents, Italian. His grandparents came from Italy. They immigrated here, They worked the fields, the strawberry fields of Hammond, and made their way to buy land, and they're all farmers. On my mom's side, my grandma raised 10 kids with majority of the time no husband around. She sewed clothes, she fished, she hunted, she took care of those 10 kids. And on both sides, my mom and dad, there was never no racism in the house. My daddy's parents were, I would say, borderline racist, or felt like they were one step above. But on my mom's side, if you even thought like that, you were going to get a switch.
Right.
If you even use the wrong language, you get a switch. And I struggled with that as a kid. And I'll tell you a couple of things that happened to me. One time when I was with my mom, I think it was before I was even in school. We're going to Ponchatoula to my grandma's house, and there was a old black lady on the porch talking with my grandma, and I asked my mom, "Who is that?" My mom said that, I forget her name, but she told me the lady's name. She said that's Mama's soul sister. Said she was a freed slave. And I got to meet this lady, and she could not read or write. My grandma read her mail, and that's what was going on over there. When I met her, and that is why we could not, say anything racist or negative towards anybody of color or anything. That wasn't allowed, because they grew up dirt poor in the fields with freed slaves. My grandma told a story, my mama's mama told a story when she was picking strawberries as a baby in the field with her daddy and other freed slaves. The lady asked her if she wanted some water, and it slipped out of her mouth. She said no, and her daddy just hit her, knocked her on her butt, and she was like, started crying. He said, "That's no ma'am." Flip over to my daddy's side of the family. My daddy's daddy, my grandpa, used to take me out riding in his taxi cab. He drove taxi in Hammond, and we'd pick up fares and whatnot, and and just paw type stuff, So one day I'm in the store at TG&Y in Hammond, is Fred's, and I'll forever remember that place because of what I'm about to tell you. That's right. I was in the buggy. My mom was pushing me along, and I see something that drew my attention. And I told my mom, I said, "Ooh, look at that NIG lady." Oh, my mama slapped me. She slapped me across the face. She apologized to that lady. She took me straight over to my papa's house, and she lit into him. She said, "If you ever want to see your grandson again, you better not ever teach him no bad words." She knew
exactly where it came from.
Yes.
She knew exactly where it came from.
She stopped it.
Yeah. Listen.
And I learned that it's to me, being Italian and being picked on in school and tormented in school, and one of our good friends, a good friend on Facebook now, I finally got to get back in touch with everybody on Facebook, Jesse and Eddie Moore, had my back in first grade when some people were picking on me. They picked on me because I lived in a trailer. I had cheap clothes, and we were poor white trash.
Right.
And that's what they used to
Supposedly.
say. That's what they used to tell me in school. You know, that they would say, "You a dago." So you one step above
an N-word,
but not much.
Right. That's right.
But all my schoolmates that were majority black were my friends.
Right.
They didn't treat me that way. They kind of, I guess, seen what I was going through and took me in because they already knew what it felt like.
Yeah, they do. We did.
And
we did.
You know, those kind of things impacted me to the point where racism, the black and white thing, I think it's much bigger than that. I think it's richer and poor.
It's class. It's class. It is, a lot of it is class. Class. I will say this. I agree with you that class is used. It's anything divisive.
Anything divisive.
Anything that divides people is contributes to racism. Because why? Racism divides people.
Right.
But here's what came to mind as I listened to you talk. Denzel Washington said something. He said politicians can't create enough laws that are going to cause us to do what's right with one another and to help one another.
Yeah, they can't force
They
us
can't.
to
They
do
can't.
it.
That's what he's basically the point he was made. You can't be forced by law or any other way to engage.
To be a good person.
He say what brings about being good people is engagement. He said until we just learn to engage one another. And that stuck with me because one of the things I learned in my walk with God is that I got a revelation about something, and that was that great things start and come from conversation. Great things, great bad things, great good things start with conversation. And every time I infer this with people, I use the example of Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook while in college, but he couldn't seem to get this thing off the ground. He couldn't really it wouldn't come together like he envisioned it until he went back to his dorm room one night and had a conversation. He engaged his roommates. Before, he was keeping everybody out of it because this was his baby. He wanted, but when he decided to humble himself and engage his roommates, out of that conversation came the funding. Out of that conversation came the algorithm that tied everything that he was doing together. From a conversation with his friends, Facebook was born. If we're going to beat this divisiveness, this racism, this hatred, that's what it boils down to, hatred, we have to have the right conversations and engage one another. Things like what we're doing right now, the dialogue that we're having, brings about understanding of one another. I'm learning things about Italians. You know what I'm saying? You're hearing things from an African American's point of view. This is engagement.
Right.
And what it does when that happens is we figure it out that we're more alike than we are different. Because here you went through some of the same things that I went through as a black person being an Italian.
But I'm still judged by my white skin color.
You're still judged by the white skin color, but you've been through the same things that I've been through, and you're viewed differently in society because of their white skin. Isn't that, how crazy is that? You know what I'm saying? But me just standing off looking at you, not engaging you, I'm going to think certain things. Or he thinks he's better than me, or he can get things before I can get them. He can have a job at McDonald's and get a $200,000 house in the suburbs, in the subdivision, and he might just have average credit, where I have better credit and a better job, but because I'm black. These are the things I would think about you. But when I engage you and we have a conversation, I learned, man, damn, you done went through the same things I done went through, man. Yeah, I would have never thought, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's when we're engaging one another.
What I love about New Orleans, the city that I love, I never felt right in my life till I stepped foot in New Orleans. And I find that, and I'd invite you to walk with me anywhere I go. You'll see that there is very minimal to zero racism. And anywhere I go, we all get along. We all eat from the same table. We all eat the same thing. We dance the same. We work the same. And then you drive out of New Orleans and go to Metairie and go into a Walmart, and people won't even look each other in the eye. You go to your town, Hammond, that I despise. Racism and tension is just unreal.
Off the charts.
But let's go to Walmart in New Orleans, and people bump into each other. Oh, what's up, man? How you doing? Oh. Can you help me get that? Just what conversation, you know, black and white, we all get along. But get outside of that melting pot,
and you see a total difference.
Total difference.
But see, here's the thing. New Orleans people engage one another. I'm gonna tell you why, and I'm gonna tell you what helps them to do that. Partying.
You let their inhibitions
thank you. They let their hair down together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No matter what didn't happen all day long, all week long, when we come to do this thing here, it's about this thing. Yeah. And guess what? I don't want to have fun unless you having fun too.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the race, the color, the creed, it doesn't matter. Gender. They just,
we're here to do this and you are too, let's do it.
Let's do it. And that has been a conduit to them engaging one another. Whether they black, white, whatever it is. And that's why that's true about this city.
Yeah.
That is why that is true about this city. And I learned that through engaging people. You know? Yeah. So I know what you're saying to me is very true. It's very true. And then I can see it. I see the same things you just said. You can go into New Orleans and walk through downtown and even through the neighborhoods. You see white people, black people walking back and forth, all walks of life.
Yeah.
Pretty much living in the same neighborhood. Yeah, you can have wealthy people living in the same neighborhood as poor people, working class people. And you wouldn't know the difference between none of them because they all just getting around together, boom, boom, everybody going to the Walgreens and the same Walgreens. They don't have this Walgreens for the rich and the upper class and this one for the poor. Everybody going to the same. Here in New Orleans, I noticed that. And it's because they found commonality in the culture of this city.
They turn the TV off and they don't let it separate us. That's right. They go outside and, you know.
But you mess around and you go where the laws are made in this state and there's a problem.
Yes.
there's a problem.
Well, it's an over abuse of the laws. You know, I've been in a couple of situations where I was in a police raid in New Orleans. And it blew my mind how cordial and polite these ICE police with guns were to the people that they arrested in my presence.
Yes.
They, you know, they were just cool with them. You know, it was kind of like, we got you.
So you went out with ICE?
No, I was in a studio that got raided.
Oh, okay. And ICE is the one that did the raid.
ICE is the one that raided.
Okay.
I'm talking 10 of them come out with guns walking
That's
in a line.
immigration, right? ICE deals with immigration,
yeah,
right?
ICE deals with immigration, but I mean, they had ICE across, but
Right.
they were police. A guy had robbed some people, and he came back to the studio to do a session
Wow.
and brought them there.
Wow.
And but the way they acted, professional, and it was like, you know, they just treated these guys like, you know, we got you, just be cool, don't be everything will be all right. You're going to jail, but you're not getting beat up.
Right.
Yeah. And they were cool with all of them. I was in another raid at a different situation here in Jefferson Parish, and it was totally flip-flop. They were racist. They were arrogant. Talked to me like I was, you know, just trash of the street. Called me player. And oh, dare I say my name is Dale. He said, no, your name is Player, boy.
Boy.
And I just shut down. And it's like, you know, this goes against my whole thinking. I want to just jump up and hit somebody with something. You're not going to take on 20 people with guns.
Right. Right.
But you know, it's just the mentality that's, you know, in this society, you know, with the laws. Like you said, you can't make laws to make people do right.
You can't.
But the people that's enforcing the laws aren't doing right either.
Nope.
And the further away they are from the camera, or you know, if they find there's no cameras running, they'll do anything they want, and they can get away with it. And that's their mentality. And how do, you know, that has to change along with the civilians, you know, and how we raise our family to get along and everything. We also need the people that's making the rules to abide by the rules.
That's right. That's right.
If they're not going to abide by the rules, then how can they enforce the rules? And how can they expect us as civilians to abide by the rules?
How do you know right unless you know what it looks like?
Exactly. Exactly. If they're the person with the badge, but they're not acting right, why should I act right either?
Right. Where's the example?
Right. Right.
Where's the example?
You ever work for somebody that says, I'm the boss, don't question it? What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to question everything he does.
Yep.
But if he's a leader and he leads by example, you don't question nothing. He says, jump over that wall. You know that he's got a plan for you when you hit the ground.
Jump over that wall, right.
But somebody that's pushing you to be a certain kind of way, you're going to be skeptical.
That's
and
right.
you're going to always fight back.
That's right.
It's our natural instinct.
That's why I teach and I preach that God does not force anything on anybody. I say it this way sometimes. I tell them, God is not a pedophile or a rapist or a drug or a pusher or a pimp. He's not going to force what he has for you on you, and he's not going to force anything else on you. You're going to have a desire to have what it is that he has for you.
To want to go find it.
To want this. You got to have a desire for it. And that applies across the board in life, period. I can say all day long, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer when I grow up. I want to be a lawyer. But if I'm not, from the moment of saying that, preparing myself and moving in that direction, everything that I do every day is to get me to that point. If that ain't the case, I'm not going to get there. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get there.
It don't just happen.
It don't just happen. You said it yourself when I told you it's time for us to do the podcast, because we was having a conversation before we sat down here. And you was telling me about the love you have for what you do. And you were saying, I'm not rich. I'm not getting rich from this. I do it because I love it. This is what I love. This is what I have a desire to do. And you talked about how it's been an uphill climb. Meaning it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. But I love this. So I don't regret the struggle. I don't run from the struggle. I don't fear the struggle. I go through it.
Yeah. That's what makes you feel natural.
Right. The race is not given to the swift nor the battle to the strong, but those that can endure. Endure some hardship. Endure some adversity. Endure some bullies and some, racism and things of that, and still yet love. So that's what if you don't have that deep desire for it, you're never going to have the love you need to have for it. Right. You're never going to be able to have that, and that's the thing with most of us. We see, I want to be like Denzel, or I want to be like Barry Sanders, or I want to be like Drew Brees, or I want to own a team like Tom Benson did, or I want to do this, and I want to own a studio like Latino, have people come in and just jam out before me all day long, and this and that. They talk about the glamour of it, but what they don't understand is that there is a struggle behind that glamour. We were talking earlier about, you look at the front rows of the Grammy Awards, and all of those gray-haired men gray-haired men and women sitting up on them first few rows, and all dignified. But what we don't know is the struggle they went through to get there. Some of them people lost marriages, houses, everything that they had to get to that point.
And that's
and if you talk to them, they'll tell you, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't change a thing.
Grammy is like winning. It's an award, but it doesn't come with money.
Right.
And it comes with stature. It helps you increase your revenue.
Right.
Because you're able to charge more for what you do because you're an established Grammy, but it doesn't come with a paycheck.
It doesn't.
And the people that's struggling their whole life to get to that trophy, that award, there's satisfaction in it, like winning the race.
That's right.
But the next day you got to go home, go back to work.
Get back on the grind.
Yeah.
Because it does not stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. What I find is that the things that we love and the things that we go hardest for, we never really get to that point to where we can stop.
Why would you?
That's a good question.
My daddy always says a satisfied man is a dead
man. Listen, why they'll say, why would you? And the reason you ask that is because you love this. Why would you want to stop something you love?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you want to stop something you love? Dale, I did not find purpose in what I love until I got my assignment from God. Tell you something, man. And you alluded to it, how difficult what I do is. It is difficult. But I love it. I'm in my element. When I'm teaching and preaching God's word.
You feel natural.
And I'm in my element when I'm helping. Oh, thank you, God. When I'm helping somebody. When I'm able to exude that love that I've learned from him. When I'm able to exude that. When I'm able to give. Freely give. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't put emphasis on, in ministry, I don't put emphasis on money. The Bible teaches to give a liberal offering and pay your tithes, but I don't put the emphasis on that. I teach it, you know to do it, but it's got to come from a place of love. It's got to come from your heart unto him, not unto me.
Right.
So I don't get on Facebook and add the Cash App at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
Because my main objective is, if I give you this word, if I help you to achieve love and understand love and how it works on your behalf, all that other stuff is going to come. And guess what? When you get it, you're going to share it. Because why? You have a heart of love now because you've learned what love is, who love is, and how it works on your behalf. Mm-hmm. You see? I don't ask people to give, but they give me. They give our ministry. Mm-hmm. I don't ask them to.
Right.
But they learn through me teaching and preaching who love is and how it works on their behalf.
I'm grateful for that.
And guess what? I may be a pastor and a preacher that don't ride around in the Benz and don't have a big old fancy house and all of these luxury things, but I'm going to tell you something. I am so blessed.
Yeah.
And my life is so full of love. Mm-hmm. You will never hear me say that I'm not loved.
I can tell, I know.
You hear what I'm saying? And you will never see me, Dale, from this day or in this day forward, you will never see me or hear me say, I don't have love to show.
Right.
I am love. And I can love. And I have a huge capacity to show love and to receive love.
That's why you in the profession that you're in, or the calling that you're in, is a profession you choose. Right. You're in a calling that you're in because you have the love.
That's right.
You know, you have that so much more.
I love you. Energy. I love people like you. I love people like me. I love women, I love men, I love everybody, children. I want to see everybody respected and honored and loved and happy and taken care of. Right. That's what God wants for all of us. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want.